Hello everyone and welcome to the big one. For the 10th year in a row we are here in Finale Ligure. We're back in the Italian Riviera, back on the gelato, and most importantly we are back at the Bluegrass Trophy of Nations. Yes, for the first time since 2019, the Bluegrass Trophy of Nations returns. It's a unique event in mountain bike racing that sees 3 racers on each stage at one time, competing for some rather tasty UCI medals and jerseys. Finale Ligure, famously tough to race bikes in. Let's have a look at what the course looks like ahead of today's big race. A monster 64 kilometres of racing awaited the racers. The first stage of the weekend was a big one. 6 kilometres and 950 vertical metres of descending. Stage 2 was Mega Roller, which was the longest of the day at 7.3 kilometres. The third was the return of the extremely short and punchy Finale Borgo before stage 4, which was Regatta. The final stage of 2022 was the world famous men's DH, one of the roughest, toughest tests of the season. The weekend got underway with the rider and industry trophies on Saturday. Set aside from the national squads, teams of 3 could compete to represent their brands across the stunning Ligurian cliffs. The industry trophy saw some heavyweight EWS and EWSE stars take a break from sunning themselves and gelato to pull on a race plate for the last time of 2022. There were even some names from further afield. UCI World Cup XC stars Maxi Marot, Luca Brado and Martina Berta were in attendance and came home in an impressive 4th for Met helmets. Intense Cycles Europe team secured 3rd after a win on the final stage, men's DH. Wolf, Morris and Ennis were 1 spot further up the road for Polygon Factory Racing. But there was no stopping the indomitable Josh Carlson, Mackay Vizina and Phil Ricard of Giant Industry team. The boys in blue won all but 1 stage to take home the 2022 Industry Trophy.
We had a strategy at the start to send off Mackay and Phil, and then there was a climb on the first stage. Then I left a 10-second gap and we thought I could bridge the gap on the climb. It all pushed together, worked perfect. And then the last one we sent her home from the gun to the pretty much until it drops in, then we let Phil bring it home and he let it eat the whole way down.
That's by far the funnest race I've had in Finale.
The 3 rider squads of the Trophy of Nations teams were selected pre-event based on the Enduro World Series global ranking points. In the Pro Women's field, Team France were the reigning title holders, and in the Pro Men's it was Team USA who had walked away with gold last time out. The Nations Parade took place through the historic streets of Finale Ligure, and with atmosphere approaching fever pitch, battle commenced on Sunday morning. Which country would stand on top of the Bluegrass Trophy of Nations podium in 2022? The first stage of the race was called Fast and Furious and was a rider favourite thanks to a seemingly never-ending ribbon of perfect corners and crests. Team Germany started the day well. The speed of Raffaella Richter and Veronika Bruchle now had a perfect foil in the energy and experience of Thoma. They were 3rd on the first stage, but Ines had a flat. Second place went to Team GB. Hallie Harnden, Bex Baraona and last minute super sub Becky Cook were working well together and riding high in the overall. But there were mechanical woes for their team too.
So I think we're wheel alright. I'm sweating so much. It was actually not too bad for our time. I didn't realise we were awake yet. I've got a feeling it's probably like 5 to 10 minutes because managed to stay with Hattie the whole way, and then I got it just last couple of minutes of track. So, but with the crowd there, like I just couldn't help but just ride normal, so it wasn't too bad. But we're rolling again.
The favourites went fastest on stage 1. Team France, Courdurier, Charr and Pugin were hauling. They crossed the line 50 seconds up. In 2019, Team France had arrived as heavy-hitting favourites for the men's race, only to suffer a string of mechanicals. The new look 2022 squad were keen to move on from that. They were sitting third after the first stage.
Really hard. Pretty physical, and you have to be focused on the end, also after the physical part. So all three, but it's like a train, and we try to push as more as we can.
Team New Zealand had the pre-race swagger of an outfit who were in finale to do one thing: win. The trio of Charlie Murray, Eddie Masters and Matt Walker were second fastest on stage 1, just 3.9 seconds adrift. Under 4 seconds, given the nature of enduro racing these days, was not perhaps comfortable yet, but Team Canada would take it. EWS overall title winner Jesse Melamed, Remy Govan and Rhys Werner were in the driver's seat, but Werner had been in the wars.
You okay, dude?
Really bummed. Like, I crashed on just one of these soft corners and over the bars, and then these guys checked out a bit, and then I would push to try and catch back up and see dust. Got excited, crash again. I had 4 major crashes. That was a really awful stage.
The second stage of the race was Mega Roller. At 7.3 kilometres, it was the longest of the Bluegrass Trophy of Nations and speared its way downwards via 865 vertical metres of descending. If France had been flying high on stage 1, on Mega Roller one of the engines cut out. Melanie Pugin suffered a puncture and put their lead in jeopardy. The Team GB women were gelling and working well together. They won the second stage ahead of Team Germany and Team France. Team GB men's Matt Stoddard changed a rear wheel, which led to a disqualification due to outside assistance. Britain's hopes of a men's podium evaporated before they'd even got going. It was the Flying Kiwis who took the win on stage 2, but there was drama up ahead. Team Canada were in big trouble. Werner's crash had been a big one, and then Govan lost a chain. The Bluegrass Trophy of Nations had claimed one of the pre-race favourites. Team Canada were out. So after a drama-packed first 2 tests of the day, here's how things stood. Team France led the way by 27 seconds in the women's race. Team GB were in second, and Team Germany were continuing to hang on to the front pair. The Italian trio, presented to rapturous applause to the home crowd during the nation's parade, were doing well in 4th, whilst Team USA were in 5th. In the men's race, Canada's demise was Team New Zealand's advantage. They were in the lead by 26 seconds from Team France. The front two had a comfortable gap from one of the star sides of 2019, Team Belgium, in 3rd. Team USA and Team Germany rounded out the top 5, whilst Team Ireland had sneaked inside the top 10. Finale Ligure was a much-changed beast from when it made its finale debut last season. Comfortably the shortest of the race, its steep switchbacks demanded full focus and maximum conviction. Team Italy, led by the breakthrough act of 2022, Gloria Scarzi, continued to impress on stage 3, with another 4th place finish. Harnden, Baraona and Cook kept up the good work. They were 3rd on the tight confines of Finale Ligure, but they were beaten home by Team Germany. 1 spot up the road again were Team France, who, having conceded stage 2, were back to winning ways. Team Australia had speed aplenty in former EWS champ Jack Moyer. Towed along by the Canyon Collective star, they were 3rd on stage 3. Up front, the gloves were off. It was turning into a Team France versus Team New Zealand slugfest. Alex Rudeau, Louis Jeandel and Dimitri Tordo took the 3rd round, but Masters & Co had the overall lead by 20 seconds.
We had the first good stage,
Then we had a flat on stage 2, but we fixed it and went in a rush to the next one. We're gonna try to survive the day. Honestly, it's very difficult for everyone, everything is tight. It's like full on for 8 hours, so basically yeah, we just try to focus on staying on the bike, and it's a good start.
Regatta was the penultimate stage after the mid-race time check. At just 2.2 kilometres in length, it was the antipasti to what would be the quintessentially finale main course on stage 5. Thoma, Richter and Bruchle were also going well. The Germans were second on Regatta, but there was no stopping the French bulldozer. Courdurier, Charr and Pugin continued to clock stage wins. The champs, Team USA, led by Richie Rude, got themselves into the top 3 on Regatta. Nicholas Nesteroff and Colton Peterson were now up to speed and blasting along in Richie's wake. Team New Zealand, clearly aware that they were in a straight fight, pulled one back to maintain their lead. Team France were second, and with just one stage left to play for, we're going to have to dig deep. And this is how it stood with just one to go. It would have taken one of the biggest upsets in enduro racing history to stop Team France from claiming the title. But that 6-second gap between Team GB and Team Germany looked fragile. Italy looked nailed down for a hard 4th place, and Team USA rounded out the top 5. Italy looked nailed down for a hard fought 4th place, and Team USA rounded out the top 5. In the men's race, the Kiwis' lead was now 39 seconds thanks to that win on 4. But with 3 times the opportunities for peril per run, and with the prospect of a stage like men's DH looming, nothing was guaranteed. Team USA were in line for bronze ahead of Team Germany, whilst the Belgians completed the top 5. Men's DH awaited. For the last couple of runnings of Finale, it had been lying dormant, lying in wait, becoming rougher and hungrier to break bikes and bodies in equal measure. 2.4 kilometres, 285 vertical metres, 1 stage left. The British women's team had ridden consistently all day. They finished strongly with a second on the final stage, but they would slip 1 place on the podium. Team Germany had ridden with the kind of heart and focus that the Bluegrass Trophy of Nations seems to inspire in the very best teams. On men's DH, they threw it all at the wall one last time and were rewarded with the final stage win of 2022, and in the process clinched second place in the overall. The trio of Visible Courdurier, Morgan Charr and Melanie Pugin had finished the job and would be rewarded with the Bluegrass Trophy of Nations title 2022.
Finally!
Yeah, I made it.
Yeah, and now we just are going to have a gelato because I think we are pretty down and we need some sugar right now.
In the men's race, the defending champs Team USA had continued their push. They finished second on the final stage, one of the most intimidating of the year. Rude, Peterson and Nesteroff had turned in one of the standout performances of 2022 and would take to the podium in third. Second place in the overall went to the team who would win the final stage of 2022, Team France. Jeandel, Rudeau and Tordo had blitzed their way around the stages to take second place, but there would be no catching the Kiwis. Masters, Walker and Murray had been peerless, and after Team Canada's demise had been left to rely on their own raw pace and consistency to take the title.
We're over the moon. Yeah. We knew we had a shot, like a pretty red hot shot, but we had a few trials and tribulations along the way, but never gave up, and yeah, here we are.
And here then is confirmation of those results. In the women's race, France took the win with an unchanged lineup from the last time they managed to do so in 2019. Second place went to Team Germany with a dramatic final stage leapfrogging of Team GB. Team Italy would clock one of the most excitedly received results in fourth, whilst Team USA were fifth. Switzerland just topped their neighbours Austria in sixth. Up from the last time in the men's, it was all Team New Zealand. The trio of Masters, Walker and Murray had thrown themselves into the fight from the get-go and never looked back. Second went to a jubilant Team France, who had exercised a few ghosts in the process. Third place went to Team USA. Rude, Nesteroff and Peterson had ridden one of the races of the day and defended the title with great tenacity. Team Belgium, Sweden and Australia had also impressed, with Ireland, Spain and Poland completing the top 10. And there we have it then, a season of Enduro World Series and EWS e-racing draws to our close. 10 years in Finale Ligure celebrated here at the Bluegrass Trophy of Nations. On behalf of everyone at the Enduro World Series, thank you so much one and all for watching. We will be back next year with much, much more. Until then, we'll see you then.
Allez, vai, 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 vai!